So this was how the day started, all nice and clean. And then, yep, you seen right. That's a nice curb rash on the wheel. So, do we get this fixed and back to looking normal? Welcome to the Imperfect Tesla. Let's get to it. All right, so my wife was parking at work earlier this week, and the rear wheel got the curb, and so there's a nice see if we can get you guys to see that here. It's a nice little curb rash that you see going up. It's pretty wide. It's almost about I don't know, a fifth of the wheel that it's that's curbed. And so today I'm going to be using a repair kit from Zinc Wheels. I've actually used this before on two of the wheels that probably like a year ago. They had very little rashes. I don't have the box anymore, but I know in the kit you get this nice, it's a foam thing with a Velcro back, and what you get is you get 3 sanding disc set. So you've got 3 80 grits sanding disc and 3 240 grits sanding disc, and those discs all come with a Velcro type thing in the back, and so you can stick it on, and you can see I've already used this on this spot here before, so it stays on good. So we're going to be using those discs and with this, and then you also get a Zinc Wheel touch-up paint, and that says for Tesla Model Y induction wheels. And so what this is, it's basically a color, a paint for you after you've done the repairs to paint the wheels, and it's got a little ball in it for you to be able to shake it up. And so we'll be using that, and of course good old trusty instruction manual. So let's see what we need to do and get this going. So it tells you first is you prepare, want to be in a clean, dry, warm workspace, get a rag. It takes about 1 to 2 hours, don't rush. Prepare the damaged wheel, check the repair, the paint thoroughly, apply the paint, and then that. So first things first, I'm going to clean the wheel, just make sure it's free of dust and all that oil and everything, even though we're still going to use the sanding disc on it. And then we'll do next steps of sanding it, getting it smooth, and painting. So to help with the wheel cleaning, I'm going to be using this wheel cleaner. It's nothing fancy, it's just a generic wheel cleaner. It's just something to get rid of the grease. So not really doing anything fancy here. It's just, trying to get rid of the dust like I mentioned, and just have a clean working surface. So all right, I think we're all good with that now. So you want to be careful you don't scratch your fingers with this. So now that we've got that done, you can look at my instruction manual, and it says so we're going to start with the 80 grit sanding disc first, which this is 240, so that's not that. I got to find 80. So 80 is right here. 80, that's the really coarse one. So we start with that first. And so I have the sanding block, align that a little bit great so it's all covered. So we've got that on there now. So it says gently sand any rough edges from the damaged area. So we gotta go, and I'm gonna start first on the inside just to get the that done. And so when you're doing this when you start doing the angled side, be careful to make sure you're holding the sanding block at a 45-degree angle so you don't scratch more of the wheels. You can see I got a little bit right there. It comes off nice, but just something to be aware of is you want to hold it at a 45-degree angle, and you're just trying to get it to be as smooth as possible. It won't be the best smoothness with the 80 grit, but at least it's not going to be as jagged and rough as the original curved filling. So that's what we're doing here now. Okay, so when I've done that, now we're gonna switch to the 240 grit for a much smoother. This is this is really, I can run my fingers now. It's nice and smooth. So now for 240, I take off the 80, and I've got a 240, which is the smoother one, and I'm going to put that on. I only used one side the last time, so I've still got a lot of grit left on this one to still reuse that. And that's one thing I like this kit for too, is depending on damage, you can have enough to do multiple repairs. So again, starting on the inside, and of course in the same manner, again, you want to make sure that you are holding it at a 45-degree angle, and so you're not doing too much. I have some chips in the outer finish that I'm not going to try to get in this run, because I'm also on the side of caution to not create more damage and make the look even worse than it already is. But at least I get to smoothen out the sides, and with the 240 grit, you do get to get it really nice and smooth, ready for touch-up paints. All right, I think this is pretty good for a curb rash that looked that gnarly. It's been pretty quick getting it this clean. So all right, so while that dries, we'll get to shaking the paint bottle. All right. So they did say before you start painting to practice painting on some cardboard first, and so just gonna see if I open this up here. Beautifully too, the cap also comes with like a little nail polish type paint thing, so you don't have to worry about getting a paint brush. I'm just gonna, okay, and so with that, I'm gonna start first on the inside where it's not gonna be visible. And yes, when you start putting the paint on, it goes on light, so that this is why I told you it takes time. You need to do multiple coats, that's for sure. And just a reminder, guys, this is just for home DIY small rash fix. If you have a serious fix and you have serious concerns, please do take it to a professional wheel repair or tire shop and have them look at it. With this one, like I said, I have some chips in the outer finish, but it's not anything, the wheel is not bent or anything, so we could do a DIY at home, but please go to a professional if you have something that's more serious. Now I'm gonna try and see if it's time for a second coat. It's been about 15 minutes since that first coat. It dries pretty quickly, so it's all dry to touch right now. So yeah, I'll just put on that coat just to give it that extra layer, and then that should be it. So I'm gonna try to use the paint to fill in the gaps in that paint chip over there. So let's see if we can do that. All right, now I'm going to just give it a quick clean across the whole wheel. And you can see some of this bigger dings in here that I can probably use the touch-up paints to fill it in and get it to fill in, but I don't want to spend too much time on that and end up making it look more junky or anything like that. So, but from afar, you can't tell that it was that gnarly as it was when we started. And so that is how you fix your curb rash. So I'm going to give you from afar look now and let me know what you think. All right, so let me know if you're walking up to the car, you can't tell anything from afar. This is probably about 4 or 5 foot away from the tire, Of course, like I said, if I go in closer, then it's a little more visible, and I'm sure by the time I give the car a good wash and I polish the wheels and everything is all shiny, it's definitely not going to be noticeable. And so yeah, that's a good fix.